Welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're going to peek behind the curtain of what I honestly think is one of the greatest modern-day magic tricks in business history. And I use the word magic very intentionally here. I mean, just think about it for a second. You wake up, you realize your phone charger is broken, and by the time you're sitting down for lunch, a brand new one is just sitting right there on your welcome mat. It's crazy. Amazon completely transformed how the entire world perceives delivery time. They somehow made the physical movement of goods feel practically invisible, almost instantaneous. But as you'll see, performing that exact magic trick at a massive global scale has created a mounting behind-the-scenes crisis. So we're going to unpack Amazon's logistics pressure problem and discover how the very thing that made them so incredibly dominant might just be the greatest operational vulnerability.
Okay, so to really grasp the sheer scale of this, we kind of have to travel back in time to the dark ages of the old internet. Picture it. You log on, you click buy on a book or maybe a DVD, and then, well, you wait. You get a shipping confirmation and you basically track that package as it slowly crawls across the country. Over a week, sometimes 2 whole weeks. And the crazy thing, we were totally fine with that. That was just how the world worked, right? Now contrast that reality with the sheer absurdity of today's convenience. Today, in a lot of places, you can order toothpaste, a terabyte hard drive, and a pair of wool socks and reasonably expect them on your doorstep in just 2 hours. It is a staggering shift. This isn't just about speed anymore. It's a fundamental rewiring of consumer entitlement. We no longer just hope for fast shipping, we absolutely demand it. And that demand sets up the exact core tension we're unpacking in this explainer today.
So let's get into it. Section 1, the promise of Prime, and how it changed retail forever. Think all the way back to 2005 when Amazon first launched Prime. They realized really early on that fast delivery eliminates friction. When things arrive quickly and predictably, people simply buy more stuff. It's human nature. But that launch was kind of like a psychological Trojan horse. We started at a standard 1 week, then Prime introduced the 2-day standard, which at the time sounded completely impossible, like no way. But it worked. Suddenly, though, 2 days wasn't fast enough, so they pushed it to 1 day. And now we're living in an era of hyper-local delivery in mere hours. Customers absolutely loved it, and it became Amazon's biggest competitive advantage. But here's the catch, and it's a big one. Once consumers experience a higher level of convenience, their expectations permanently rise. We became addicted to the speed and we became way less patient. Every single escalating promise in speed created this compounding monster of long-term operational responsibility behind the scenes.
Which brings us to Section 2, the logistics behind the click, the machinery beneath the magic.
From our perspective as a customer, fast delivery is just a seamless little tap on a piece of glass. But let's actually look at what happens the absolute millisecond after you click buy. Operationally, it triggers absolute coordination chaos. Instantly, algorithms fire off in some data center somewhere, calculating the exact location of your item. Deep inside these massive warehouses, automated robots begin whirring to life, literally moving towering shelves of inventory across concrete floors. Meanwhile, jets are being loaded on the tarmac in the dead of night. To honor a 2-hour or a 1-day promise, Amazon has to simultaneously coordinate these sprawling warehouses, incredibly complex digital inventory systems, fleets of air cargo, thousands of delivery vehicles, and all the intermediate sorting centers. And the kicker? All of this has to function continuously without a single broken link at an enormous global scale.
You know, there's actually an unavoidable physics to logistics. Reducing delivery time means inventory absolutely must move closer to customers. Think about it like your local pizza place. If a restaurant promises you a piping hot pizza in exactly 15 minutes, well, that pizzeria has to physically exist right in your neighborhood. It can't be in the next day over, no matter how fast their ovens are. You cannot beam a physical product through the internet. So if Amazon promises a faster delivery time, their whole system has to work exponentially harder. They essentially had to build thousands of these pizzerias, these massive fulfillment centers in almost every major neighborhood, costing billions and billions of dollars. The magic trick gets infinitely more expensive to perform the closer the audience gets.
Which leads us directly into the ultimate bottleneck. Section 3, the last mile delivery problem. This is widely considered the absolute hardest part of e-commerce.
So, what exactly is the last mile? Well, last mile delivery is the final stage where products leave a local distribution point and travel right to the customer's front door. Why is this specific stage so incredibly difficult? Well, picture a pristine 18-wheeler cruising down a straight, completely empty interstate at 2 a.m. Moving bulk goods between 2 massive warehouses on a highway is highly efficient and it's relatively predictable. But the last mile?
That's where Amazon's highly optimized global network violently collides with the messy, completely unpredictable reality of local neighborhoods. Suddenly, you aren't on an empty highway. You're a delivery van trying to navigate a narrow city street full of double-parked cars, you're dodging pedestrians, and you're squinting to search for house numbers. It is highly fragmented, and every single package inside that van is individually time-sensitive.
Let's actually put ourselves in the shoes of a single delivery driver for a second to see exactly what this messy reality looks like. Imagine an algorithm has plotted a perfectly optimized 150-stop route for you. Cool. But suddenly there's a 10-minute traffic jam. Then a sudden downpour hits out of nowhere. At the very next stop, the customer forgot to provide the gate code to their apartment complex. These aren't just minor annoyances for the driver. In a system built on extreme speed, a 10-minute delay triggers a massive chain reaction of cascading algorithmic failures. It creates massive route inefficiency. Fuel costs shoot up as the van just idles there, which directly erodes profit margins. When extreme speed is the baseline expectation, every single one of these unpredictable friction points becomes a major financial liability. And because Prime conditioned us to expect this speed, Amazon can't exactly just slow down without infuriating its customers.
Let's transition into Section 4, the hidden costs of convenience and the intense growth pressure it generates.
As Amazon expanded globally, all of this complexity didn't just grow, it literally multiplied. More customers meant more orders, which meant an absolute explosion in infrastructure. We can view this as the massive tax paid for speed. First, you need larger inventory networks spread absolutely everywhere. Second, and this is just wild to me, you need wildly advanced forecasting systems. Amazon essentially has to build a predictive analytics crystal ball to figure out what you're going to buy before you even know you want it, just so they can pre-position the inventory in your city. Third, you need higher and higher transportation capacity. And fourth, vastly more labor coordination. This is the cascading operational investment required just to maintain the status quo of fast. The real danger here is that convenience can rapidly erode business margins if operational efficiency doesn't somehow keep up with these skyrocketing costs.
You know, we so often just picture Amazon as this giant robot or some seamless algorithmic cloud, but the reality is that operational systems are not only technological, they also depend heavily on people. Think about the sheer physical hustle happening right now. To meet these deadlines, human beings have to rapidly pick an item off a shelf, pack it perfectly into a cardboard box, tape it, and scan a barcode, all within seconds. As delivery expectations increase, the operational demands on fulfillment systems inevitably intensify. When an entire global system is this heavily optimized for extreme speed, organizational pressure naturally rises. Managing that intense workforce strain and ensuring safety while moving at literally breakneck speed has actually become one of Amazon's most strategically sensitive logistical challenges.
And this really brings us to the crux of the whole issue. Section 5. Balancing speed and sustainability. The ultimate strategic dilemma.
Right now, Amazon is essentially playing the highest stakes game of whack-a-mole in corporate history. They basically want four things simultaneously: faster delivery, lower prices, higher customer satisfaction, and strong profitability. But operationally, these goals inherently conflict with one another. Think of it like pulling levers in an impossible puzzle. If Amazon pulls the faster delivery lever to keep us happy, it costs astronomically more money, which yanks the lower prices and profitability levers right out of their hands. If they pull the lever for stronger profitability, they might have to slow down shipping, which immediately threatens customer satisfaction. It is an incredibly delicate, almost impossible balancing act. And during periods of rapid growth, or, say, economic disruption, this exact conflict creates immense strategic vulnerability.
Picture this tension like a really precarious scale. On one side, you have extreme delivery speed, the incredible competitive advantage that redefined consumer expectations and built an empire. But weighing heavily on the exact opposite side is the compounding financial and operational pressure. And what happens when a massive macroeconomic event occurs, say, a sudden global spike in fuel prices or a massive supply chain shortage? While that precariously balanced scale violently tips. The very strength that made the company untouchable, its commitment to blistering speed, suddenly acts as a massive anchor dragging down profitability during tough times. Logistics became one of Amazon's biggest strategic challenges, specifically because it was one of its greatest strengths in the first place.
So if you take away absolutely nothing else from this explainer, let it be this strategic lesson right here. Companies that redefine customer expectations create long-term operational obligations for themselves. The magic trick worked. Amazon succeeded beautifully because it raised our expectations. But maintaining those sky-high expectations at a global volume? It's like being a star athlete who runs a miraculous 4-minute mile, and now the crowd expects you to run a 4-minute mile every single time you step onto the track, forever. Operational excellence isn't just about building a fast system, it's about making sure that system doesn't buckle under the sheer weight of its own success.
Which leaves us with one final, lingering thought. The next time you click Buy Now for a phone charger or a pair of socks, and you fully expect that package to be sitting at your door by dinner time, ask yourself, can extreme convenience ever truly be sustainable? Or does the relentless pursuit of speed eventually break the very machinery built to deliver it? Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer, and keep questioning the magic behind the click.